Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we start talking about the heavy support choices of the Horus Heresy, and we are talking a little bit about artillery. So, as you all know, I am an Iron Warriors player, so you might as well strap in because this is going to be a rather long video. The first unit we talk about is the Achilles Alpha Pattern Land Raider for 300 points. And for except a Sayakana, it can't have any upgrades. So, let's get into it. The Land Raiders are one of the most feared silhouettes of the 41st millennium. In the Age of Darkness, Land Raiders are the armored fists of the legions, transporting legionnaires to the front and destroying high-threat targets on its way. This is not entirely true for the Achilles Alpha Pattern Land Raider. It has a reduced transport capacity in exchange for heavy firepower. It has a front-mounted quad mortar and twin-linked Volkite culverins on the side, making this Land Raider the ultimate breakthrough vehicle. The Alpha pattern is not only the favored transport of Ferrous Manors, but it also can, through the quad launcher on its front, threaten every enemy on the battlefield. In-game, it's different to the other Land Raiders because this particular one can't be taken in the Land Raider squadron and is just a single tank. It has an improved exoskeleton or structure, which the rule has a very odd and long name, so I'm not going to name it, but it ignores Melta and Lance weapons and also reduces your armor pen result by 1, which means you need AP1 weapons to blow it up. With a Siege Breaker, you gain Phosphex rounds, like a quad mortar would do, and you're not going to use the Land Raider Achilles Alpha for transport since it only has 6 seats, but you blast away at fools who ignore it because it's just a Land Raider. It's rarely used, but I think overall it's an amazing tank and looks and rule wise, and I will definitely get one for my Iron Warriors one day. The Land Raiders in 30k have the notion of being useless because they can be very numerous. I don't feel that way, especially for the Achilles Alpha. I've never faced one, but reading the rules and researching a little bit about this tank really will mess up your day when you don't account for it, because you discredit it as just a Land Raider. So, yeah, the kit is a mixed kit by Forge World, so I guess why people don't like to use them. Mixed kits by Forge Worlds have a bad reputation for being hard to build or very bendy, but the moment Forge World reopens, I'm considering buying one on the spot. Now we talk about the Aquitar Bombard for 140 points. The Aquitar Bombard is a new kit, and in fact it's only a couple of months old at the recording of this video. And since it's a lockdown going on at the moment, it hasn't been used a great deal because Forge World is closed for the 3rd month in a row. The rules are alright, they are not broken, which I really appreciate. Usually when something new comes out, Forge World likes to give it broken rules to sell it a lot, to justify releasing a new kit. But I would say it's in line with the Saber rules wise. And then you have like 3 different choices for it. You have the Graph weapon, which is trash. It's bad. Don't use it if you want to have an effective tank. But if you want to have a good looking tank, I would use the Graph, because in my opinion, the graph looks the best. I mean, it has the graph rules from Heresy, so it's a haywire. It at least impassable terrain after you've fired it, but I don't know. I don't like the graph weapon. I think it's no good. It needs other rules, I think, or it needs the rules that the Leviathan graph has, and not like a normal graph. Also, 24 inches of range isn't the best thing ever, so graph gun, no bueno, wouldn't use it. The rockets, the specular rocket launcher, yeah, I said that word right, look very odd, but they are the best weapon out of the bunch. And the bombard, the one with the big gun, giving it the name bombard, basically has shorter ranged Medusa shells, and yeah, it's basically a short range Medusa on a Sicaran chassis, which looks nice but isn't doing the greatest if you are considering that it's a short range Medusa. The rocket launcher has a very odd targeting system, I would say, or shooting system. Basically, you place a template, and every unit that gets graced by the template gets a random amount of hits. I think you have a set amount for 2 firing modes. You can't go like full barrage or normal barrage. I think for the normal barrage you get 4 hits and 4 plus D3 hits, and for the full barrage you get 5 plus D6. And if you roll a 6, you're out of ammo and can't use the rocket launcher anymore. I don't know why they did it that way. Or let's say not I don't know. I get why they didn't do it that way, or why they did it that way, but for the rules of Horus Heresy, it seems dumb. I don't think it's like not to the 8th edition rules, because in 8th edition you don't place a template and then allocate random shots. I think that would be nice, but that's not the topic of today. I think you would. I don't know what they thought. I mean, kinda. I understand what they were thinking, because when you see a modern time or World War II time rocket artillery, you don't expect it to hit like a certain area when you fire it, right? You pretty much accept that the rockets are hitting all over the place. I mean, if you ever have played Company of Heroes 2 and fired a Katyusha with the Soviets, that's pretty much how I imagine that thing working, even though it's the 30th millennium. But let's not go into that. I get it, but I think there would be a better way to make it hit. Anyway, the next one is the Mobius Bombard. Like I said, it has a short range Medusa shell, strength 10, AP2, 24 inches, ordnance, barrage, large blast, and then it has the Karas shells with which are strength 2, AP4, flashbane, ignore cover, and pinning. I don't know why you would use that shell over the explosive shell. I mean, yeah, flashbane is nice, ignore cover is nice, pinning is also nice, but you could also just outright kill your enemy with strength 10 AP2. Like, it makes no sense. Well, I mean, you are wounding most targets you are hitting with the Karas shell. You are wounding most targets with the Karas shell. On 2s anyway, you're penetrating the armor of units you are targeting with the Karas shell all the time. And why do I need pinning when I could have the enemy unit dead? So I feel like the Karas shell needs another rule. to use it, or maybe just have it fire 2 shells or something, because as it is, the explosive shell is just better. Um, Overall, I would say the Aquator Bombard was a nice release, nice looking tanks. I love that they do more with the Sikaran chassis. So basically, it's just a backward Sikaran. But they are cheap, kinda. But I feel like the artillery squadron is kinda better because it has other weapons. And yeah, that's it for the Aquator Bombard. Now we talk about the Legion Artillery Squadron. In the Age of Darkness, the Space Marines of the Imperium were not only heavy shock troops, dropping into the midst of the heat of battle, cutting off the serpent's head. Some legions fought that way, but most legions were always ready to engage in continental warfare with thousands of marines at the ready, and as such they needed their own heavy artillery. The Legion artillery squadron has 3 different tanks you can choose from, and I will go over each one of them in its own little segment. So the Legion Basilisk costs 140 points, and it's just a Basilisk for the Legions, really. So if you've played Guard in Warhammer 40k 7th edition or before, you know what a Basilisk does. It's a Strength 9 AP3 infantry killing nightmare, and it makes you cry when you're not in cover or hiding from it, because Strength 9 AP3 large blast kills a lot of infantry, believe me. It has one huge drawback, and that is it has a 36-inch minimum range. Most of the time, your targets are less than 36 inches away. And considering that the Basilisk is best at destroying infantry units, they can just make a step forward and then not get hit anymore by the Basilisk. I think for it to make it better, the Basilisk, they need to reduce the minimum range to like 12 inches maybe, because 36 inches is just ridiculous. And there's no need for it to be 240 inches of range, because quite likely you are never going to ever use a range of 240 inch. That being said, it looks amazing, just like the Legion Medusa, which we are talking about now. The Legion Medusa is 155 points, and the Medusa Siege Bombard does what the description lets you think it does. It leaves craters on the battlefield with the remnants of your enemies. So the 36-inch ranged Medusa siege gun is a ground target killer. If it's not a flare shielded Spartan, the Medusa will remove it. It's Ordnance 1, Barrage, Last Blast, and just as I described it, it sounds like a fun time for your enemy. And this tank has the same armor value like the Basilisk. So on front it has armor value 12, on the side it has 10, and on the back it has 10. So it's a glass cannon. You need to protect this tank, because it brings a lot of firepower. It will attract a lot of attention, and bolters can glance it to death on the side. So if you bring a Medusa, I do it a lot. Make sure it's shielded from enemy infantry and placed very well, because a land speeder can destroy it from the side. You can buy upgrades for it, but I wouldn't, because you're not moving the tank anyway. Maybe you get an auxiliary drive, but that's stretching it a little bit, because, yeah, as I said, you're not going to move the tank a lot. You're just sitting there and shooting with the Medusa siege gun. And then the last thing that could be taken in the Legion artillery squadron is a Legion Whirlwind. It's cheap, it's classic, it's a Rhino with a rocket launcher. It has two different types of rounds, and I feel the only reason because it isn't that good is because you mostly face Marines and Heresy, let's be real. The weapons are made to kill light or medium infantry which hide in cover, but the Space Marines are almost always getting an armor save against this. And I mean the Vengeance rounds with a Strength 5 AP4. Strength 5 is always good, will cause wounds on anything or on Space Marines. But the other one, the Incendiary rounds, yeah, ignores cover, but it's AP5. Would work against militia if they are not survivors of the Dark Age. Then again, almost nobody plays militia. So I feel like the Whirlwinds would rise in popularity when there's like a Great Crusade expansion to the Horus Heresy, where like fight Xenos or non-compliant humans more when they have like low armor saves. I feel like then the Whirlwind would be a lot better. But as it is, pretty nice. Not the greatest choice. For 75 points, it's alright. Like, can't do anything wrong with it. Yeah, and quite frankly, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Please share the video. Thank you a lot for sticking so long with me today. And goodbye.